it's Ian Weinberg from Ianfitness, and today I want to share with you some 2019 fitness industry predictions. Now, these are some things that I see coming down the line in the fitness industry in 2019, and something as a client, as a participant in fitness, as well as folks who are in the fitness industry working, I think should be well aware of. And this is some pretty exciting stuff coming down the line, some stuff that's kind of continuing the trends from 2018, and then some new stuff that I see playing a role as well. So the first thing that I see coming in is a continued rise of franchises, right? It's almost like everywhere you look, there's a new Orange Theory or a 9-round or a Fit Body Bootcamp or Title Boxing or Bar Method. These things are all over the place. And the reason these franchises are popping up is because, number one, it's really a business in a box for a lot of folks who are ready to get into the fitness industry, and it makes it easy for people to kind of start a business for it. The downside of participating in a franchise versus kind of a homegrown business like, say, Ianfitness, is a lot of these people that are purchasing these franchises, for example, an F45, it's not necessarily a trainer or a coach who's kind of graduating to a business owner. It's somebody who may be retired from the tech industry, is looking for a place to park their money, and wants to start a fitness franchise. So there's not always the strongest leadership from the top in regard to how to help clients and the client experience, whereas a place that's more of a mom and pop, like an Ianfitness, for example, we've developed from the ground up, and we started with clients one-on-one at a park, and now we have brick and mortar locations versus just starting from the top and kind of learning the process along the way. So while these can be great options, and they're going to be all over the place, they're going to continue to be all over the place. And another reason they're going to continue to be everywhere is because it's so easy for these ones to start that it can really kind of shield out independent business owners and folks who want to just start their own brand. It makes it more challenging because they're competing against these that have really, really deep pockets. So just something to be aware of as we see this trend continue in 2018. Like I said, we'll see more and more of these. But when you're deciding between one or the other, it's something you want to keep in mind. Who's running the place? Who's the owner, and what experience do they have? Because that's inevitably going to bleed down into the coaches that you're experiencing on a day-to-day basis in those franchises within the fitness field. So the second one is gyms. They're just going to keep getting bigger, okay? We've seen this happen year after year because what happens, the gyms are losing clients to some of the franchises we just mentioned, as well as independent personal training studios and yoga places and kickboxing places. So what do the gyms do? They try to bring those programs under their roof. So you'll see the gym now has the yoga class. You'll see the gym now has a boot camp. You'll see the gym now has a kickboxing class. And while that's well and great, and in theory that would work really, really well for you, what's going to continue to happen is it's the same waste of time and money. Because when you go to a big box gym, you're not really sure what to do, right? And that's where we come in as independent personal trainers and boot camp coaches and yoga teachers, is we're experienced about this one thing, and it's our specialty. Whereas when you go to the gym, it's just another offering they have at that facility. So gyms only work if 10% of their entire membership base come. If more than that show up, there's no room for the machines, there's no room for the ellipticals and the treadmills, the classes are too crowded, everybody's upset and cancel. So they're banking on you not showing up. And you've traditionally not shown up for the gym, and it's why the gyms continue to do so well, is because they just need 10% of the people that are there to show up. Any more than that, they're actually in trouble. So the business model behind a big gym is such that they're not rooting for you to be successful, and that really sucks. Whereas you come into a smaller setting, like an Ianfitness studio, if you don't come in, we're not sticking around for very long. So we've tied our success to your success, and that's one of the reasons that allowed us to be successful. The other thing with the gym and why it can be a waste of money is because you're not really showing up, and they don't want you to show up, right? They don't have the accountability pieces in place like we do, where we'll follow up with you via text message and email and phone calls and see where you're at to get you into the studio. Whereas again, at the gym, they're not really bothered if you don't show up. Actually, it's beneficial for them if you don't. So while the gyms will get bigger and potentially nicer and offer more and more amenities, that's all well and great. But the truth of the matter is, if you're not there, they don't really matter that much, okay? So next up we have, and this is just every year, this has been continuing to grow. It's just the integration of wearable technology, whether it's your watch, your heart strap. They're continuing to be in play in studios, and the thing that you need to be aware of, and now this is great because it can give you information that become really useful for your goals, right? On your phone is another piece, and you can infer information in your food and your nutrition, and all these things can be very, very helpful. But I want you to be careful of is I want you to remember it's just a tool. Just because I gave you a hammer doesn't mean you can go and build a house, right? Just because you have a watch that tracks your steps doesn't mean you're automatically in shape. It's just one component of the whole piece. And unfortunately, just like it started when treadmills and ellipticals told us how many calories we were burning and told us how in good shape we were, it was lying to us, right? They can't accurately predict the calories, and people were convinced because they had done the time on the treadmill or the Stairmaster or the bike or the elliptical, they were getting in better shape, but the reality is they weren't really seeing results. And the same thing can happen here. I personally know people that are religious with how many steps they get or how many miles they get in a day, but they're not improving their fitness level. Just because you're checking off a box, a goal you've programmed on your watch or your Fitbit or your heart monitor or whatever it is, doesn't mean you're actually progressing. In fact, it's a sign that you're not, because for you to continue to make progress, you have to continually challenge yourself. So if you do the same workout every day, if you do the same amount of steps every day, the first couple days, the first week, maybe in the first month, that might be challenging and it might help you improve. After a while, you're going to plateau. So you need to continue to change that. So overall, I think the increased integration of wearable technology is a big, big benefit when used the right way and when used in conjunction with actual training, right? You can't just have the Fitbit on, you can't just have the Apple Watch on and hope that it's going to help you get in better shape. You still got to do the work, right? You still got to do the work. So next up, the last 3-4 years, we've really seen a push from one-on-one training to group training. The economy has been so good that almost anybody has been able to start a boot camp, right? As soon as they get their certification, hey, I'm a boot camp coach, I'm a small group personal training coach, and you see these gyms and boot camps pop up everywhere. And they're able to work with lots of people at one time, and it works great for them. But unfortunately, because there's been such just big influx of coaches in the industry doing boot camps and doing small group stuff, the quality's gone down, right? The quality's gone down. It's diluted a little bit because there's so many new coaches in there that don't have the experience, that aren't well equipped to deal with different levels of fitness. And the other component of this is as we see more and more folks retiring, right? The demographic in America, more and more folks are retiring, and they're going to want to stay active as they get older. They're going to want to keep up with the grandkids. They're going to not want to just sit around. They're going to want to go hiking and go on road trips and live healthy longer, right? So we see this older age group looking for a fitness solution, and it's most likely not going to be in big groups because they're not going to get the individual attention they need. And then also, the other component of why I think we're going to see a bigger return to one-on-one training is because we're just getting busier and busier every single day. I don't know about you, but you've probably got 20 to 30 emails in your inbox. You've got texts you haven't responded to yet. There's just so many demands for our time that even if we're signed up for a group training program, we might not go as frequently as we want, right? And the group training doesn't have the same level of accountability as a one-on-one appointment does. You're gonna have a hard time standing up your coach when he's expecting you to be there early in the morning and you don't show up. Like, he'll take that personally and you're gonna be there. But if it's a bigger group and you know there's 4 or 5 or 19 or 20 other people there, you can kind of sneak around and not necessarily be there and hope that they don't notice. Now, you can't get away with that at Ianfitness, but most places you can, and because it doesn't have that level of accountability, you probably don't get the results. So how can you get the results? It might be a return to the one-on-one training. So I see a little shift in that. There's still going to be tons and tons of group training options out there. Still a lot of people are going to do them because when they're done right, they're the best. But for the folks who need that extra level of accountability, because they're super busy, and for the folks that need some more individual attention around the actual exercises that they're doing, maybe they've got some pre-existing injuries to deal with, then I think we will see a spike in one-on-one training in the industry in 2019. So next up, right now, or historically, you'll find yourself a place to go work out, right? Whether it's your boot camp, whether it's your personal training studio, whether it's your kickboxing, your yoga, whatever it is. And then someplace else is going to provide you with the nutritional support, whether that's a certified nutritionist, whether it's somebody just the psychology around eating, whether it's a meal plan that you can get, and then you're going to go someplace else, and maybe that's where you find your motivation, your life coaching, the piece that kind of brings it all together in the mindset. But the folks that are going to be successful in 2019, both the client side and the businesses are going to be providing a one-stop shop. Here's why it's more successful for clients. Because you don't have to go to 3 different places, right? Again, we're super busy, and even more so in 2019. So if you can go to one place, they're gonna provide you with the workouts. They're gonna help you on the nutrition side, whether that's the accountability, whether that's the education. And then they're also gonna provide you with the motivation and the mindset to make sure you're doing the workouts and to make sure you are eating towards your fitness goals. That is a winning combination. So that's something that we've been pushing towards from the very beginning for 4 or 5 years now, and we've been an industry trendsetter in that regard, which has allowed us to be successful. But I see other businesses getting on board with that in 2019 because they're recognizing that it's a great opportunity to be able to help their clients, and if they're not helping them, then somebody else is helping them. And the reason it's going to be great for the clients, that there's going to be more of these opportunities out there, because again, it's going to save you more time, and if you can get all the help from one place, you're going to be more likely to stick with it and see better results. So more one-stop shops in 2019 that cover your workouts, cover your nutrition, and then cover your mindset, which has been a really undervalued piece to the whole fitness component the last few years, because I tell my clients it's not necessarily the burpees, and it's not necessarily the broccoli that you're eating, but it's the mindset around doing those burpees and around eating healthy that's really going to help you get sustainable results. So something to look for in 2019. And another part of 2019 is the community aspect of wherever you are going to be exercising. It's going to be bigger than ever, and it's something that I think just keeps growing every single year. Again, and I know I've mentioned it a couple times now, but how busy are we, right? And a lot of that busyness is on a device or on a computer at work, separated, not part of a community, not interacting with other people. So when you have a chance to come to a boot camp studio like here, or whether it's at yoga or whether it's Pilates or kickboxing, whatever it might be, and you can be a part of a community, you can be a part of a team, there's something really special about that. And number one of the things that's most challenging for people in exercise is they're not having fun. So if places that build in the community like we do at Ianfitness allows you to have fun, right? Like now we're associating fun with fitness, which isn't always true. You're going to be more likely to show up. You're going to be more likely to stick with it. And then of course you're going to be more likely to see results. So I see other companies, other businesses in the fitness field getting on board with this community building. But one of the challenges many of them have, and we talked about at the very beginning, is they're a franchise. And oftentimes there's a lot of policies and procedures around that. Whereas, at Ianfitness, we'll have a boot camp brunch, right? Where we'll run a boot camp and everybody will bring in, we'll have a potluck style, and everybody hangs out and eats some delicious, healthy food together. That might not be allowed at a franchise. Or we might do a fun activity outside of the studio where some other people might not be allowed to do that. So again, one of kind of the things to keep in mind, does the facility that you're at build that sense of community? And if it does, that's great. You really want to hang on to it because it's going to be a key piece to your success, allowing you to have fun. And when you find that, you'll know it, right? Because it's, for a lot of people that are in our facilities, it reminds them of when they played college sports or when they played high school sports. And those are typically really fond memories, because when you're going through some challenges together physically, it really helps bond you. And that's typically what happens to kind of build that community. It starts with the workouts and then it goes with the fun. So we're going to see a bigger importance on that. And I see other businesses trying harder to kind of create that community as well. So get muddy. OCR is on the rise. And if you haven't gotten out for a fun run, a Tough Mudder, a Spartan race, a Savage race, a Weekend Warrior, I mean, there's so many different ones these days. I think that it's going to just continue to rise. I know that it's just been this crazy explosion, people doing it. And the reason is because people are spending too much time on their couch, and life is easy these days. For the most part, right? Like for the most part, we all have problems, but generally they're good problems to have, right? Where it's like, hey, I'm too busy with work, or I'm too busy with my family. Hey, like we can look at that and say, like, that's great that you have a job. It's great that you have a family. But the reality is we're taking escalators, we're driving everywhere, we're as warm as we need to be. So we get put in this environment for these OCR races, which stands for obstacle course races, where it really challenges it, where you get muddy and you're under barbed wire and you're hanging on stuff and you're carrying heavy things. And it kind of brings us back to what it means to be human, right? To what it means to be challenged physically. And there's something great about that. There's something great about that feeling to be really pushed outside of your comfort zone physically to see what you're capable of. And the fun thing about it as well is there's certainly competitive aspects to it, but you can do it with a team, you can do it with your friends, and we do that at Ianfitness all the time. We have a big group run a Tough Mudder, and it's so much fun where you're helping people get over walls and you're getting muddy together, and it's just all these things that you would never normally do in your everyday life, and you get to share it with other people, and it's a real blast. And you're also getting in shape, right? You're not necessarily thinking about it as you're happening, because you're just trying to get through all the obstacles and get through the mud and all this crazy stuff. And at the end, after the shower and you clean yourself off and you got some scrapes and bruises to take to the office on Monday, and you got through something challenging. And what I like best about it is then when you're confronted with other challenges, it's like, hey, I got through that Tough Mudder. I did that Spartan race. Like, this next thing in my life is going to be easy, right? So I think more and more people will get on board to try these races. And because of that, you'll see more and more programs designed to help people be successful. So we've been offering OCR training for the last 3 or 4 years now in our big groups that do the Spartan races and the Tough Mudders. And I think you'll see other facilities start to provide that type of training as well. Because again, it's training people really to do well in an athletic event, which then in turns help people look athletic, which oftentimes is a pretty significant goal that people actually want. So we'll see those continue to rise. We'll see more programs being offered for people to be successful there. We're also going to see an increased movement in the recovery field, right? And this is something that historically has really just been for serious level athletes or professional athletes, whether it's the foam rolling or whether it's the deep tissue massage or the cupping that we see or the intense, massage hammer guns that we see. It's not just for professional athletes and it's not just for competitive athletes. It's really for everybody, and you're going to see more and more people doing these exercises at the gym or at studios and classes being offered for one really, really important reason. It helps. It really helps, not just recover, but helps on the injury prevention side. If you're anything like me, you just hate getting hurt. I hate being injured. It's so frustrating. I'm not able to exercise. I'm not able to get ready for my next race. These type of exercises really make a big difference in terms of how you feel the next day. Because the truth of the matter is, if you're too sore to work out or you're injured and you can't work out, you're not getting closer to your goals. So taking time to invest in yourself on to do these exercises or get these types of treatment are going to be really, really beneficial for you. And I think more and more clients are going to try them, experience the benefits, and it's going to continue to grow within the industry, whether people are doing foam rolling classes at studios or whether people are partnering with local chiropractic and massage therapy places like we do at Ianfitness. But it's just a big component of fitness in general that I think we'll see that continue to rise and play a bigger part in injury prevention and kind of overall fitness health. So lastly, you never really know what's going to happen, right? These are all predictions, and being in the industry now for 10 years and worked with close to 10,000 clients and multiple studios, I feel like I've got a finger on the pulse of kind of where the industry is going, but there's always going to be surprises along the way. But if you have any questions about anything that we covered or how Ianfitness works in general, I'm always available to help answer any questions, so feel free to comment a question down below. And thanks so much for watching, and let's make 2019 the best one yet. Thanks so much.